Hey everybody, it's Gary the Google Guy here, and today we are going to cover my top 15 things that I love about Workspace. So let's get started because we got a lot to cover in a short amount of time. First off, for you Outlook users, yes, there is a reading pane or split screen mode. If you go to the gear icon in the upper right, down near the very bottom of this settings window, you'll see right of the inbox. Now we can see our emails in this view in that split screen mode. You can also go to full screen mode to the upper left, click, and it will collapse so you can see your entire email a little bit easier, leaving those left side windows exposed only when you want them. So that's a start. Next up, you also have some additional inbox types underneath that gear icon. Another very popular one is the option for unread first. That'll pop everything up in your inbox up to the very top of your screen in its own separate category. Another very popular one, priority inbox. This allows you to use your labels to the left as categories themselves. Okay, speaking of labels, let's get out of this mode real quick and let's talk about these to the left of our screen. You can get really creative with your label names, not just the typical folder names of the what it is and what it's about, but how about creating things like awaiting a reply, or maybe a certain due date, time, week, month, today. You can also create different labels like follow up, schedule a meeting with a boss, with a client, with a vendor. Maybe you have some different things that you need to do with replies, like replying with a deliverable or a form or an update, or maybe a contract to review. Or maybe you need to request in that reply some additional information, some documentation, a PO, or a signature. All these can kind of play into your hands in a number of ways. First, if you look at your email with your labels on them, this might save you having to reread things of what do I have to do with this? The other thing is you can double up the functionality of your labels, such as you want to see everything that I need to get done for today? Well, I can go to the left, click on my today label, and there's everything that I need to get done today. Enhancing that functionality just a little bit more, you can actually select multiple emails throughout your account, wherever they may be in any view, and you can either drag and drop onto a single email and have all those other selected ones get labeled with, or you can go to your label button up at the top, either create something new or click and create and add multiple labels at the same time as well. A couple of things I really dig about the Compose piece. Click on Compose, it goes into its separate window, but you can't move it. Hold your Shift button down, click, and now I can move this window to wherever I want. Make it full screen, maybe even drag and drop it into another monitor. So speaking of composing an email, another thing that I really love is the enablement of templates in the advanced setting tab. You can create an email very quickly. As you can see, and let me get into full screen mode here. We can create something very quickly without having to hardly do anything. Let's go to the bottom right. Let's click on our templates. Let's go to a teacher or business training inquiry. Click. It's created my email for me. And if you're slick with how you name your templates, you can actually have it automatically fill out the subject line for you, and you don't even have to fill that field out. The nice part about templates is you don't have to proofread any of this. It's all going to be proofread once, and thereafter you don't need it. You want to add another template? We can do that too. So we go back down to the bottom right, template. Maybe we want to use a link. Maybe we want to use one of these other type of things, and you can pop things like that in there. You can create templates for creating emails in multiple ways. Speaking of the word multiple, another thing that you have an option of is to create and use multiple signatures. So I can click between my different signatures, use whichever one that I want, and that will change it up in our field as needed. I even have the option of saying no signature at all. So those are a couple of things that I really like about the creation of email. The other thing that I really like about creating is in the bottom left corner of the box, you can schedule when you want this sent. You don't have to send it right now. So we could schedule this to be sent off on Friday at 4:58 as you're walking out the door, or maybe Monday at 6:59 as people are starting to get to the office. Okay, here's another couple of really slick tools that I like. To the far right side of the screen, you have a tool that's called Google Keep. It's somewhat like OneNote, but I find it to be much more inventive in the way you can use it. So for example, I've got this email in the middle of my screen. I open it up and maybe there's something I need to do with this attachment, with this email. If I go to the far right and click on my Keep icon, from here I can either take a basic note of text or I can create a to-do list. If I click on either of those, it automatically creates the connection to this email. Now I can give this a quick title. We'll just say test 2 and ABC as something to do, DEF as another thing to do. Done. Now we've created the connection to the email, but if we go to our app launcher, you will notice that there is a Keep program. If you go into that program, you will notice that it will immediately sync up your notes, and from here you can do much more. You can color code these things. You can also create a connection to your Google Calendar. Pick a date and time. When do you want to get this done by? Well, maybe I want to get this done by Thursday, and we don't want it to repeat, but we do want to get it done by a specific time, so I can type in exactly what I want. So let's say 4 o'clock p.m. Save. Now I've connected an email to a note, color coded it, connected it to my Google Calendar, and to put the icing on the cake, I can also share this out with a coworker. So now I'm going to share this out to my other trainer. Save. And now that trainer will have the exact same list show up in their Google Keep. It will also be in that side panel that we originally accessed that Keep note from. People that are shared with this, they'll see the exact thing that you're doing in real time. You get things done, you mark them off, you'll see that. They mark them off, you'll see that as well. So that's a really groovy way to be able to use Google Keep in conjunction with your Gmail and your Google Calendar. So here's another little trick for you if you're going to use Gmail in this new updated view. You'll have the option to use to the left chat and spaces. You can actually create a space, maybe it's just for yourself and not share it out with anybody, but the bonus about being able to use spaces is that you can add maybe your own list of certain files that you want to access, and you can open them right from here. So we can go to any of these files, open up the file in our Gmail view, and we can start working with it within this frame. So this is really kind of a sneaky trick to do something as a room or space for yourself that allows you to open Drive files here in this frame. And speaking of Google Drive files, I got a couple of tips for you there as well. So if we go into Google Drive, one of the things that you can do is you can open up any file. It doesn't matter. And if that file is one of those ones that you use quite often, what you can do is go to the top and you can click on the star in the URL bar. Now, what's cool about that? Well, that means you can bookmark any of your files like a web page, because literally it is a web page. Those files that you want to access the most, okay, you don't need to go to Drive and find them. Even if they're buried 6 folders deep, you go to your bookmark bar at the top, click, and that'll immediately open up that file for you there. Now, here is another little slick trick. Remember how we connected a Google Keep note to an email as well as to a calendar date and time? Guess what? You can also go to the right, click on Keep. We can do that same kind of thing here, only we're now going to connect it to a file. So we can click on Take a Note. We'll just say to do for our note. You'll see the note itself insignificant at this moment, but we could type whatever we want in there, copy and paste data, type data, but then it's also got a connection to the Drive file. And then once again, we could go back to our Google Keep program, go to that note. Now that that note has got a connection to a file, we could put a calendar reminder to it. We can also connect it with coworkers, color code it, maybe even copy and paste and add images, like maybe that chart that we just saw a moment ago. You can do things like that. And all of this can be interconnected throughout your account. Okay, one last little tip, Any of your files that you have in your Google Drive, if they are a Microsoft version, you have the ability to open these Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint files, leave them in that format, as you can see in the upper left corner of our screen, the blue balloon, docx. This is Microsoft. I have the ability to open those files, and if I really wanted to, I can edit and do whatever I need to do to this file without using Microsoft Word, Excel, or PowerPoint in those programs. All right, well, that's all the time I got for today, but I just wanted to give you a quick 10 minutes of, about 15 different things that are really cool within Google Workspace. Until we meet again, this is Gary the Google Guy, signing off.